Yes. So once again, greetings everyone, and welcome to this session. It's amazing to have everyone here. My name is Olumide Arao. I'm a social entrepreneur. I've been in the space of humanitarian action for about 5 years now, and not until recently I began to meddle into the cryptoverse and understand how the blockchain is affecting finance, is affecting the way we do tech and the way we create solutions. And that is why we are all here, talking about the cryptoverse, talking about how this relates to human rights, this relates to leadership, global leadership. And I'm very, very happy to have seasoned experts who have rich experience in the blockchain, such as Senator Ikene, Ihenye, sorry, and then Anthony Nwakwe as well. And I would like the panelists to introduce themselves to the participants as well, so that we could, break the ice a little bit. I hope you're fine with that.
All right, Olumide, thank you very much. It's great to be here. I'm Senator Ihenyen. I'm lead partner at Infusion Lawyers. It's a law firm, a virtual law firm that services tech startups. I am also currently the president of the Stakeholders in Blockchain Technology Association of Nigeria, which is Nigeria's blockchain association, comprising both corporate and individual members. I sit as the General Secretary of the Blockchain Industry Coordinating Committee of Nigeria, where all of the blockchain bodies belong. That's a very short intro from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator. Over to you, Anthony.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Anthony. I'm the co-founder at Asset Credit. Asset Credit is a blockchain solution that aims at providing fractional ownership of physical assets leveraging the blockchain technology. And our major route, there are no fungible tokens. And it's a great pleasure to be here, and I really appreciate this opportunity. I'm also a chartered arbitrator as well as a global ambassador for Max. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for accepting to be on this panel. So to kick off things, we have seen a whole lot of buzz around Bitcoin. Some people say it is a bubble. Some people say, well, I think I've lost it all. I don't really understand it. And while some would say, no, I'm fighting for it. I think it is the change that we want to see. So Senator, you happen to have a whole lot of experience with associations and blockchain. You've met with innovators in this space as well. Tell us, give us a brief background about Bitcoin, the history of it, and so that our participants could really have a framework, a background about it.
All right, thank you very much. It's an interesting question, and it happens to be the 14th anniversary of Bitcoin. So there's no better time to talk about how Bitcoin was invented by Satoshi Nakamoto. Sometime in 2008, during the global financial meltdown, a person or group of persons, whether man, woman, who no one knows, called Satoshi Nakamoto, invented what is called the Bitcoin. According to Satoshi Nakamoto, the Bitcoin is supposed to operate as an electronic cash system, more like a global currency that will enable transactions in a manner that you will not require a third party or middleman or central authority, such as a bank, for instance. You don't need a central reserve bank to make that transaction happen. And it can happen from anywhere in the world at any time. And anyone could just make it happen. So the idea of Bitcoin was to enable global trade transactions from anywhere in the world, borderless transactions without third parties. And it comes with some people like to call it anonymity, but I don't think so. it comes with some pseudonymity, which means that it doesn't come with a name, unlike your traditional conventional bank accounts. It comes with alphanumeric private and public addresses. And so people believe that it has some bit of anonymity, but it's more of a pseudonymity actually, because it can still be traced as far as Bitcoin is concerned. It can't still be traced to the owner. So the Satoshi Nakamoto also released a white paper called the Bitcoin White Paper, which really introduced the idea of Bitcoin as an electronic payment system, and also described Bitcoin as not just a network, but it's also a technology that enables those kind of transactions that cannot. It avoids double spending, for instance. So a lot of people get confused about Bitcoin and all that. Is it just a currency, or is it beyond that? So I would like to say, like experts say, Bitcoin with a capital B is the technology, the network, and peer-to-peer system. But when you talk about the small letter B, Bitcoin, you're talking about the cryptocurrency itself. So this is a whole different ball game in terms of enabling global transactions without third parties.
Thank you very much, Senator. Senator just gave us a brief background, and then it is interesting because my friends now know about Bitcoin, and they talk about it a lot, but I do not know if it's the same light as I know it to be, because I do know that it is transparent and it has gained global attraction. But and then, Anthony, how do you think recently Bitcoin has helped innovators bring about change? You have your own startup. What are the use cases that has made Bitcoin brought about change that is making people make positive impact in the society today?
You're muted, Anthony.
So like Bitcoin, I apologize for that. So like Senator said that the capital letter B, which is Bitcoin, which is the underlying technology. We have other technologies, other based upon it. Bitcoin has also been a tool for social impact. For instance, in the area of fundraising, and uses Bitcoin as a means of raising funds. A certain incident that we all can relate to was the EndSARS movement. Remember during those times there were clamors for police brutality, for the end of police brutality, and it was like the whole country was standing up against it, and that movement needed to be financed, right? And ordinarily, if the movement was financed, they had traditional means, going to banks, get the money, and they could be in some government restrictions. This could have been also easy. But the founders that money was raised via Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin helped so the feminist coalition back then, as well as other stakeholders to raise funds to finance the EndSARS movement, as well as aside the EndSARS movement, we have charities springing up. For instance, aside the whole Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, we have also non-fungible tokens, right, playing the same card or playing the same role, where you can raise funds for charities via non-fungible tokens. Marketing does that, as well as other charity bodies, right? So the whole concept of Bitcoin, right, is also, aside being a token, aside being a financial instrument, aside being a financial scheme, aside being a way to trade, as well as other things, you can also use Bitcoin to affect positive things, and this goes mainly via the route of fundraising and helping to support societal movements. Raising some of their Bitcoin, it's more stable to an extent. Right, aside the fact that we are facing a very deeper currently where it's like nothing is going on again. But trust me, the Bitcoin is stable and lasts. It's here to stay. So it's more stable than Naira, it's more stable than some other currencies. And believe me, the next 5 years, I mean, the market will itself. Everything will come back to normal, but I bet you that there will be a global adoption of Bitcoin. And since that is a more stable financial tool, it's best used. Well, it's the best instrument for me to use, to do a lot of things. So yeah, for social impact, you can use Bitcoin. Yeah, coins really most effective.
Thank you very much. You caught my attention in respect to mentioning the police brutality protest that was done in 2020 October by young people who felt brutalized and felt that their human rights were being affected. That is the EndSARS protest. We saw important figures such as Mike Josie coming up to say, donate Bitcoin for these people. Let's see how we can help them in this fight. And that makes me want to ask Senator, who to me, from the law part of it, has a whole of a rich experience, to say, how does it matter? Why does it matter right now as a matter of human rights, relating to human rights? Why do you think it matters right now that people need to pay attention to what is going on? Why do you think Bitcoins matters to human rights right now?
Oh, thank you very much. As with most innovations, especially innovations centered around the internet, we have seen positive impacts of such innovations when it comes to human rights generally. For instance, we talk about the impact that the invention or the creation of the internet has made, as long as human rights is concerned, the right to expression, the right to association, the right to to have a life that is you won't have to face discriminations, the right to expression especially. And why do I talk about the internet? When we talk about Bitcoin, it is a result or a product of a technology called blockchain. And blockchain has been described, very rightly so, as the third generation internet. Why is that? Because when we talk about the internet, it enables communication. That is the exchange of communication or information between one person and the other, right, across the world. Now, blockchain as a third generation internet is enabling exchange as well. But this time we're looking at exchange of not information, but value. And that value could be currency, which is where cryptocurrencies come in. That value could be anything tangible, or it could be any intangible assets. So talk about digital identities, talk about even intellectual property like music and songs and movies and all of that. It's still all value. So this is the first time. It's important that we all understand this. This is the first time in the history of mankind that we have a technology that enables you transfer or exchange anything of value over the internet, and of course without any central authority. And so a lot of people are getting into this because for the first time they could really exchange something of value with the other party from anywhere in the world. As for human rights, we've always known or understood how central the freedom of expression, the freedom of association is as far as human rights is concerned. Now, if you talk about the right to expression and the right to not be censored, Bitcoin has a big role to play. Why? Because when we talk about Bitcoin, you're looking at a decentralized cryptocurrency. Decentralized because it is not minted by any central reserve bank of the world, and you do not need any conventional financial institution to enable you carry out a Bitcoin transaction. And so it has become a very attractive tool for people who want to exercise right to expression, right to association, without being discriminated against. For instance, let's go to Nigeria, where there was in October 2020, what is called the NSAS protests, like Anthony was saying, against police brutality and human rights violation. You recall that when it started, the young people in Nigeria decided to get together and raise their voices against what they felt was violation of their human rights. They went on Twitter and it was all over the place. It became some kind of, it was pretty big in terms of the campaign against police brutality. And the government, understandably, got very uncomfortable with that. Eventually, it led to the Twitter ban that we had for the first time in Nigeria's history. No one saw that coming. That's because the heat was getting a whole lot as far as the governments and establishments were concerned. And guess what happened? At the time when persons were still relying on their bank accounts to be able to support the protests, their bank accounts, some of them had their bank accounts frozen. And so what they had to do was to rely on a technology that would enable them continue to raise funds without being censored. And Bitcoin became the answer to that. It was pretty fascinating how young people got together in Nigeria and raised over thousands of dollars to support the NSAS protests so that they could have that campaign against human rights violation executed. So yes, I think that we will continue to have persons rely on a neutral technology such as Bitcoin to be able to raise funds and support projects that they believe they need to pursue. Of course, the downside is that just as the good guys want to raise their voice, against discrimination and what have you, you will also have the bad guys, sometimes also get interested in Bitcoin, wanting to raise funds for whatever they believe in as well. I guess this is where concerns by law enforcement and central banks around the world, have also been expressed about how terrorism financing could also happen, using Bitcoin technology. So that is just to say that this is a powerful technology we have in our hands, and I think that it will get bigger and bigger as we evolve.
Thank you very much, Senator. I really like the immense at which you dish them out. We've also seen support with Bitcoin even in Ukraine. With the war in Russia, we've seen support in, I remember there's this issue with truck drivers somewhere in, I can't remember the country now, and their GoFundMe account was frozen. And what did they do? They decided to use the BTC, and that was it. They were free from the centralized system. So I'm going to you, Mr. Anthony. We have seen a lot of restrictions of the blockchain in finance in respect to Bitcoins. China has banned it. In Nigeria, I remember I bought some with my credit card, with my debit card, and all of a sudden I cannot anymore. We have to rely on the peer-to-peer system. What do you think these restrictions, are they going to stay for long? Are there been any restrictions so far with you using the Bitcoin? I'm talking to Mr. Anthony right now. So please share your thoughts around that. Have there been restrictions so far with the use of it? How has the ban globally? Is it going to affect us? How do you think it's going to affect things for tech, for the fintech and for startups in that space?
All right. First of all, I would like to shed more light on what Billionaires said that concerning human rights. Besides the whole active, campaign about human rights violations, we have things like let's go extensive to maybe the crypto right? We have other things like Web3. The things that I feel like this technology tries to adhere to, give the efficient or the optimal execution of the intent. For example, in Web3, users have exclusive ownership of their data, right? And remember, human rights, rights to life, rights to property. I mean, they also have physical rights, which are like subsets of, just human rights we have. So the whole concept of decentralizing is that exclusivity of your individual data, and it's that centralizing can be cut down, reducing the manipulation. So you understand that you can control what you own, right, and what you can you actually control what you own. So that's one of the advantages of the whole crypto space, as well as especially what we have currently in Web3. We've tried to give decentralized communication, exclusive ownership of data privacy, as well as other things. Now, on the first side, based on the question you asked me about regulation, I'm actually from also the legal background, similar to Senator here, although I'm still pursuing my law degree. But what I've understood is that regulations are very slow and support by the government very, very slow. Remember, before now, we have something like the SEC rules, right, where it gives, a bit of guidelines for digital asset custodians, even mention things like ICO, as well as but also exchanges to especially compliance, right? We didn't have that before. And I feel like the issue with slow support in terms of regulation or legislation is first of all an understanding, right? And the understanding of the lack of understanding or the sufficient understanding, not lack, because I feel that people have the interest, right? People have the basic understanding, but the sufficient understanding of the whole space, the lack of that sufficient understanding is one of the issues we have. Remember, without policy, without regulation, nothing will work completely, right? No matter how brilliant you are, no matter the innovation, without regulation, being the pillar, right? It must work. Now, that sufficient understanding is one thing that needed, in the sense that most people, aside even the Bitcoin issue, right? I feel like the whole blockchain technology is something most people haven't taken home, right? Because cryptocurrency is just an adoption. There are different adoptions of blockchain. Crypto, which Bitcoin is the headliner. You have SBC, you have NFT, you have DAOs, you have even the metaverse, you have other things built on the blockchain. Now, understanding the potential of the blockchain technology would give that understanding and that thing, hey, this is something that is needed, this is transformative, and as such, we will have a second eye to Bitcoin. Now, I feel for the Nigerian government, for example, this is my closer government, so I can't really speak for the world at large, but I feel like it's more like the lack of that sufficient understanding. That's why there's need for policymakers to basically make these guys understand that cryptocurrencies are not just there to displace the banks completely. Although some people say, oh, this will replace the banks. I feel like they are here to give that efficiency, basically. And with this regulation, if it succeeds for the longest of time, I feel it would not succeed for the longest time. I believe that gradually things are going to take shape. We never had a startup view in Nigeria. I mean, we never had a startup view. No, now we have a startup act, which is now law, basically. Now we have those mechanisms in place. So, I mean, who must have thought that, okay, we have something to break in startup. So I feel like there's that gradual understanding, and thanks to policymakers, thanks to activists, thanks to enthusiasts, pushing the potentials of blockchain technology, and the restrictions are understandable. it's not, let me use the Nigerian long, it's not bad failure, it's understandable. If you don't understand something, and this is something that, trying to disrupt the economic system to an extent, not destroy, but disrupt, meaning the status quo. If you don't understand, the best bet is not allow it to do some to an extent, because before you can get, because you don't know the full extent it will go to, because it might displace your system completely. I mean, it's the best, it's one of the, the expected outcomes, right? So it's not, when I talk to my friends, I'm like, don't ever, when you're talking to somebody, don't say, oh, this government, oh, they're not right, oh, this government, they're dumb. I'm like, no, they are just rational, basically. It's just rational, right? And it's not even just the African thing, it's around, like it's global, right? Even there are some loopholes basically that are not even there. Talking about how do we tax some kind of things. Recently, you asked, are we taxing on Bitcoin, their personal income tax or capital gains, NFTs, are they tax their capital gains? I mean, there are a lot of things I'm trying to say that are not really even answered yet, and you can't sideline them and say, oh, even if we can still have a full-blown support. No, it doesn't work like that. Questions need to be answered, right? Then for personally, if I put restrictions on Bitcoin, no, basically, because I've never bought within my debit credit card or something. I usually use the PCP, but right, I believe that gradually. And remember that in as much as we are proponents, in as much as we are preaching the gospel about blockchain, it has its own downside. And everyone wants to face it. I mean, if you're a president or a CFO of a company, or you're a CBN governor, your aim is basically make a safe financial system. And there are hacks that happen, that is there, right? There are things that also happen that, like more like shows the downside of the things you're trying to promote and adopt. So balancing the downside and good side is coming to understand that, okay, let's make provisions to capture the downside so that it doesn't really affect the potential of, of the blockchain or the Bitcoin technology. So if they don't really get those things and marry together and, balance the lacunas there will be issue of full-blown adoption. Trust me, full-blown adoption is not a work in the water. It's not a very easy thing, right? So restrictions but restrictions shows that there's just a safe outlook or a safe proactiveness to an extent, right? Saying that, oh, we don't really understand. Let's things that we just have, just stall it for now. And the wave now is tilting towards the full-blown adoption of blockchain technology. And I believe in the next 5 years, we'll have a new story to tell. So it's for us to keep on preaching the gospel of blockchain technology. And the restrictions, yes, that's my personal opinion. Restrictions are not bad. The restrictions are there to make it safe. Now, we have to now understand what we are getting into before we have that full-blown adoption of blockchain or even a Bitcoin. Now, for the cryptocurrency ban, the government, I think, from my understanding, was trying to restrict banks from facilitating cryptocurrency transactions. I think that was the full-blown, stuff about, the cryptocurrency ban. So you still have Nigerians that losing some money because that the government doesn't want fully part of it. And I believe that with a good understanding both on, stakeholders who have a solution. Yeah, that's my thank you.
Thank you very much, Anthony. I really appreciate your sharing there. Are we going over to questions that has been sent in by the participants? So in the chat box here, we have a question from Dr. Greg. And Dr. Greg is concerned that we're talking about Bitcoin alone. Now, what about other platforms such as Ethereum, the Cardano, the Solana, and what have you? So what about other platforms? So please, as I continue to bring out these questions, I think we should make that consideration to digress in looking at other alternative tokens and their use case. So I'm also going to ask this question now. So this question says, the potential is definitely there for the cryptoverse, but there are many headlines about crypto hacks and fintech, payday loan app abuse. Can we leverage the positive while still protecting people? So that's one question. You know, there have been hacks. BNB was hacked recently. You know, there have been a lot of hacks. Even Ethereum was hacked before we led to the Ethereum Classic. So he's saying, how do we, you know, leverage on the positive while we're protecting people? That's one question. And then secondly, he said, do you envision everyone interacting with a code, or do we how do we create trusted intermediaries? So still relating to the first question, how do we create a secure platform while protecting people on the blockchain, on the cryptoverse? I don't know if Senator is up for that question.
Yeah, interesting question. Indeed, we've had a number of hacks in the space. Not
Senator,
so.
We can't hear you.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Can anyone else hear Senator? Go ahead.
So, all right then. So, interesting question. Indeed, we've had a number of hacks in the crypto space. Not surprisingly, because if you look at how cryptocurrencies work, it's not everyone that understands the complex parts of these things. And bad guys in the space will always want to take undue advantage of certain complexities to cause havoc in the crypto space. So yes, we have hacks, but many of the hacks in the space have been more of cyber security related issues. How do I mean? It is not the blockchains, you know, that have been hacked. You know, as far as many of the you know, various cryptocurrencies are concerned, especially those cryptocurrencies that are more decentralized, like the Bitcoin, like the Ethereum cryptocurrencies, and the rest of them. We haven't seen a lot of seen hacks in that sense. The hacks have really been around persons, bad actors applying social engineering techniques to deceive and defraud users of crypto, people who have been perhaps sometimes careless, or they have exposed their very sensitive information, such as passwords and all that, especially when using a centralized platform. So we have seen the hacks in there. We have also seen a lot of fraud happening in the DeFi space. DeFi is decentralized finance, where we've seen DEXs, that's decentralized exchanges. You know, we've seen a lot of hacks in that space. In the latest crypto analysis report on crypto crimes in the crypto space in the last 1 year, you would observe that a lot of hacks were happening in the decentralized platforms, where people want to have, you know, 100% control of their money, of their finances. That in that space, you see that you are your own bank. And of course, being your own bank comes with opportunities as well as risk as well. It means that you are now fully in charge of your financial safety and health. Therefore, you own all of the private keys and all that. If you are in that situation, you have exposed yourself to a lot of risk. And if anything happens in that space, you will only have yourself to blame. There are many bad actors who are trying to take advantage of the decentralized platforms to, you know, defraud people of their cryptocurrencies or hard-earned money. We have also seen around social media platforms, especially Telegram and Twitter, sometimes Facebook as well, where bad actors go out there to, you know, look for unsuspecting victims. So you're just minding your business on Telegram or any of the social media platforms, and you constantly receive all sorts of links or sometimes even emails, introducing one project or coin to you. And by the time you click those links, you get to be scammed eventually. So yes, we'll continue to see these scams or hacks happen. So what I think users need to know is that the crypto space is not a free money space. It's not a money doubling machine. People need to understand what various types of cryptocurrencies or crypto assets are really used for. We need to get involved or get interested in the projects. You need to understand use cases. There are use cases within the financial system. There are also use cases outside the financial system. Today, we talk about digital assets or crypto assets in the agricultural sector, in the sports sector, in the entertainment sector. People need to understand that these things come with use cases. And as long as you understand these use cases, you will be able to maximize the opportunities in there. So you have to be paranoid when it comes to cybersecurity. You need to secure yourself. No one will do that for you. On the other limb of the question, which is, should we not have intermediaries so that we can reduce the prevalence of hacks in the space? I think that's a good way around it. Already we have centralized exchanges, from Binance to FTX to Kraken, Coinbase, mention them. There are many of them today that try to be that middleman, between the crypto currencies and the market. So what you need to do, yes, there are those who have embraced centralized platforms. I know a lot of people that will not go anywhere near decentralized exchanges because they don't seem to understand the complex things around decentralized exchanges, or because they don't think they have enough knowledge, to be able to become their own banks. So yes, as a matter of fact, in the crypto space today, we have people more predominantly using decentralized platforms. I think those using the decentralized platforms are pretty less than in the minority in the space. So yes, we will always need centralized platforms to come in. Related to this is what the Financial Action Task Force, the FATF, which is the global body monitoring money laundering and the use of the financial sector as well for facilitating terrorism financing. It has come up with standards, best practices towards ensuring that digital assets or cryptocurrencies are not used for money laundering or terrorism financing. I think so. What we can all do is to ensure that the platforms that we use are platforms that are compliant with some of these global standards. That will help us minimize the risk of fraud and scams and other illicit transactions in the space. I'm also very big when it comes to crypto education. I think that we do not have the right level of education yet. Sometimes some education platforms you see out there basically adulterate crypto education alongside marketing all sorts of crypto coins and tokens. So I think that we really still need pure crypto education. Good thing is there are now players in the space who are also very essentially concerned about the need to have pure crypto education in the space, devoid of trying to sell snake oil in the space. So that is really what we need to put more investment in, ensuring that more people understand what cryptos are really about. Today, it's not just a Bitcoin story. We have over 13,000 cryptocurrencies in the market. And that means a lot of work in terms of trying to understand what Ethereum is for, what Ripple is all about, what Cardano is about, all the Solana, all the rest of them. So we need to just understand the crypto space or the crypto verse as a very big one. And it's not just the universe anymore. We now know about the metaverse, which means that increasingly cryptocurrencies will play roles beyond the role they play today. I see a future where cryptocurrencies will essentially become the native currencies or global money system of some of these metaverse platforms that I think we might begin to see in a few years' time. In terms of what we can also do in terms of the scams, I think that self-regulation has a role to play. For instance, I currently sit as the president of the Stakeholders in Blockchain Technology Association of Nigeria. And it's Nigeria's Blockchain Association. And one of the things we do is to ensure that players in the space, including the crypto exchanges, work together to ensure that they are adopting best practices, this which promotes transparency, accountability in the space. In this way, we're able to encourage consumer protection, investor safety, and market efficiency. So these are some of the ways we can go about these things. We don't always have to wait for the government to make the first move. The government will, and they already do. But again, a whole lot of work still falls back on the players themselves. As players, I don't think that we should create innovations and mess things up. I think we should play a leading role in ensuring that we sanitize the system, since we understand the blockchain industry and the technology better than the government currently. So yeah, it's a collaborative effort. And I think that with more cooperation, rather than trying to stigmatize crypto or trying to demonize it, we will have better results.
Thank you so much, Senator. We had a little bit issue with our technical system here. I am really, really thrilled with your opinions on this, and that has led to another question that I feel is very, very important. Mr. Anthony, you may have touched down on this, or probably Senator, but look at this interesting question. How can inclusion be more ensured for more persons to access cryptocurrency? Because I know I've heard about people saying this will bring about more financial inclusion. So our participants want to know, how will these expand access for people? How will it, bridge the gap financial inclusion? Mr. Anthony.
Wow, okay. All right. In terms of financial inclusion, you're looking at inclusion of a large number of people, even to the downstream, right, to the grassroots, right. Just like saying, it's just same thing with the view I have regarding blockchain innovations, right. I'm also bullish on blockchain innovations that help to promote grassroots solutions. What am I saying? Solutions that can really affect people even at the grassroots, right? Currently we have things like NFTs, we have DAOs, we have other things, but there are still avenues for blockchain for healthcare, blockchain for schools, blockchain for law, blockchain in the legal space, blockchain in e-commerce, as well as other routes. Now, in respect to cryptocurrencies and how it offer financial inclusion, first of all, is that it's structured in a way that everyone can access it. It has no restriction in accessibility, right? With a basic understanding of how cryptocurrencies work, right? You can access the potentials and the use cases of cryptocurrency. So first of all, this drives inclusion because of its accessibility. The fact that it's built in a framework that it cannot be easily, right? First of all, it cannot easily be withheld, right? Because like I said, like the senator described, this Bitcoin as built on a decentralized framework, right? So let's say I'm looking for the technical term of the production, I think that's not the best word though, of this Bitcoin, it's not really controlled by a central entity that is kind of like that restricts its supply, basically. So the accessibility of this coin most times is what can drive that inclusion. And now also look at the cheaper mode of using this coin. Now, one thing about using Bitcoins and using cryptocurrencies at large, with altcoins, Ethereum, Doge, whatever, to do transactions is cheap. It's cheapness, basically. For example, you can transact a large volume of cryptocurrencies and have little basically. So it's structured in a way that it's accessible and it's cheaper. Now everyone can use it. It's not restricted. It's not centralized. So, for example, you don't have someone saying they want to restrain this, they want to stop the supply, or someone wants to just restrict how you use it. It's basically made accessible and cheaper. Now, what do we have currently? I believe that's why the question was asked. What do we have currently? The thing is, for you and I, right, using cryptocurrencies is as easy as possible. With blockchain technology and its associated education, right, you can basically use these tools, right, easily. And first of all, you don't need stringent processes to basically do this. Now, in terms of inclusion, you have those in the upper class, and those in the rural classes. Now, it's also structured the way to also include everybody down to the market woman. Now, there's this product by basically this that's an idea that I've been working on. Also, it's still like although it's still maybe structured as a product requirement, as well as some just in theory, like for now, it's called Iyoloja, right? Iyoloja is called, I don't know, I'm not Yoruba, but I think it's head of market, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, Iyoloja, I think it's head of market or something. Yeah, so the aim of what I thought of was creating an on-ramp and off-ramp solution, right? For market women to basically pay their cryptocurrencies as well as fiat, due to the fact that that exclusive or that restrictive kind of payment via only cryptocurrency is not really possible because not everyone understands. So we can have an alternative to pay via crypto and via fiat currency. We're talking about the naira, dollar, or whatever fiat currency. Now, to show that, what made me thought of that, I looked at the fact that there's a need for this to be taken downstream. It's not just for the educated. Now, there's a whole lot of work, right, to be done for this to be actualizable, because there is the fact that there's little literacy in terms of financial technology. I think if there was wide-ranging literacy, we won't be having questions in terms of how does it foster inclusion. So we need to basically educate people on how this works. First of all, the accessibility and the transparency of this coin, and especially even the blockchain technology at large, the transparency, the accountability. The fact that if you send transactions 2 BTC, 0.1 BTC to your friend for the purchase of Nkele or purchase of your of an item, you can see the transaction history, you can see the hash address, You can see everything.
Sorry, Mr. Anthony, can you please, we have like 10 minutes to wrap up. It's wrap up in the next 30 seconds. Thank you.
So I will short now. So in terms of inclusion, right, you need first of all that you have to know that blockchain is more accessible, the cryptocurrency is more accessible, it's cheaper, it's transparent. Now, the reason why there's no downstream inclusion is due to the fact that there's little literacy regarding that. So when you have that in place, you understand that even that application of speed one time will use coins to facilitate these transactions. So putting the potentials of these innovations would get us to a way where everybody can, use this to do their daily life activities.
Thank you very much, Mr. Anthony. We have about 5 questions still up, and we have 10 minutes to go. So I would try as much as I can to see which questions are similar and how I could put them together to coordinate. Now, first off, Senator, I wanted to address this. What startup, this is from Dr. Craig again, what startup do you think are doing the most exciting work building solutions for Africa's market? That is one. So what startups in the cryptoverse are building solutions for the African market? And then secondly, there is a question here about how the restrictions from the central bank across countries and how certain countries are pro-crypto, how will that enable people? Sorry, I think I'm getting it mixed up. First off, Senator, I think you should just answer this question first. What startups do you think are doing the most exciting work in African solution in just 2 minutes?
All right, there are a number of exciting projects in the crypto space in Africa, enabling access to finance. Others are looking beyond finance, looking at applications in the agro sector and all of that. And just to say that cumulatively, we've seen African blockchain startups raise up to over $500 million, right, building their work. So that's some serious work going on in that space. A number of them that I can mention right here. We've seen guys like Bondo, for instance, in the African space, although it's a portfolio company of Binance. We've seen Bondo push access to crypto with their wallets. We've also seen the likes of Luno. Luno is a South African based exchange since expanded across Africa. Right, Luno is doing some great work in that space as well. We've also seen those in the local areas like Bitmama, for instance, also a crypto exchange doing a lot of work. But just to let you know that it's not just about crypto trading on exchange in Africa. We've seen people looking beyond all that right now. For instance, I know about FarmChain Finance that is looking at the use of crypto or blockchain technology to enable farmers have access to finance. We've also seen blockchain in the gaming sector in Africa roll out. I know Gamic, it's called Gamic in Africa. They won a Binance competition recently and got a bit of funding. Gamic is also pushing the use of blockchain in the gaming sector. In the entertainment sector, we have people like Clip, for instance, pushing NFT use cases in Africa to empower creators and people who are collectors as well in that digital arts and African culture environment as well. So you see that we're not just looking at crypto trading, we're also looking at other interesting sectors. So that's that with that question.
Thank you very much, Senator. Before we wrap up, we have 5 minutes left into the session. In 2 minutes, Anthony, how do you think the CBDC, central bank digital currencies, from government, backed by stable dollars that we've seen over time, how do you think that would enable more standard, more policy and control come into play in the system today, tomorrow, and in the future?
Right. We're talking about central bank cryptocurrencies like currency, Naira, and stuff like that. I think how it will help is because since they're a closed replica of cryptocurrency, right? Or just that they are not, backed by cryptography and stuff. But since they are closed replica of cryptocurrency, I believe that it is for the legislators and policymakers to roll out policies that would affect, digital currencies at large, right? Because both cryptocurrencies and CBDCs are also digital currencies. So if you can have a closed replica of cryptocurrency, it will give a picture, right, of what cryptocurrencies are. Now, the issue of the e-Naira is more like, I don't know why, for me, why it's not really successful on the large scale, or I think there's no time for that. But if we have a closed replica of something, it gives us an inkling on how we can regulate another. So I think having a closed replica of that could all the legislators to understand how the currencies work and create policies in place for that.
Can you hear me? All right. Thank you, Mr. Anthony. And we have 3 minutes left. And I just want to thank everyone for joining us today, for all the rich contributions from the panelists, and as well as I also want to thank Tech Change for bringing this to reality, for bringing ideas and co-creating ideas, putting together in this session. But before we wrap up, Senator, in 1 minute, I want to ask again, in the future, globally, we are beginning to see signs of standards, policies coming into play. We're starting to see government saying we have a bill for the cryptocurrency. How soon in the near future do you think these policies would come out? And because everybody is saying, give us something, let us have something we can work with, and we don't have anything yet. How soon do you think this will happen? In 1 minute.
Oh, depending on where you are, soon is pretty subjective and relative. If you are in some of the countries in Africa, for instance, say South Africa, pretty soon is already around the corner, because in South Africa, there's already an understanding by regulators in that country that crypto will have to be treated or will be treated as financial products. Since that is the case, it means that they have little or very little work to do, because as financial products, you already have existing regulations that are applied there. Not just South Africa, there are also other countries that want to treat crypto as financial products, and that solves a lot of headache for everybody. If you're in a place like Nigeria, where the central bank is struggling to understand or accommodate cryptocurrencies, but the Securities and Exchange Commission, which is the investment body, is saying we can treat it as some kind of investment assets, then fine. It means that for now, people will embrace cryptocurrencies from a point of view of assets, investment assets, than as money. So cryptocurrencies as money, if you're in a country where central banks are struggling with that, I think this will take some time.
Thank you so very much, Senator. Thank you very much. We're out of time. And I want to thank everyone for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. Thank you so very much, Senator Ihene. Thank you so much, Anthony Nwoku. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh,
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.